Who's the most piratey of all? Today we'll be talking about the game Jamaica. We're going to offer you our thoughts on the mechanisms of the game, the theme, the aesthetics and components, comparisons to other games, and very quickly an upside downside. We like a fair review, so this is Legendary Tactics.
Jamaica is a game that you introduced to me years ago.
I did, yes.
Probably, I'm trying to think, do you know when you got this game?
Quite a few. I've probably had it 10 years or so.
10 years, eh?
10 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God, okay, awesome.
And this one comes off the shelf probably more than any other game in my household with kids and my wife. And
they love it.
They really love this game. And you know what? I really enjoy playing it too. And there's not a lot of deep strategy to the game, which I think is part of the fun because anybody can win.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so essentially it boils down, it's basically a race game with some pirate type stuff thrown in and some, treasures and cannon battles and so forth.
That's right. So I think the mechanism as our first category is fairly straightforward, that you all get a deck of cards. It's almost like Iron Man, the card battler, where everybody gets an identical deck of cards, and then you have the choice of how you're going to place your rolls. There's a little bit of luck here, but how you decide to place that to maximize your benefit depending on where the squares are. So you can also, if I'm playing a 4 here and seeing that this character, if they play 4 forward, it'll end them up on something that'll punish them. There's some subtlety that you can do there.
Yeah.
So there's the main mechanism is that. Beyond that, it's just a dog race. So get the most resources, win some battles. It's fairly balanced, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, the mechanisms work fine for me. It's designed to be a light race game with a bit of skullduggery thrown in. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And you can play whatever game you want. If you want to fight a lot, you can do that.
Yeah.
There's ways to tailor with this expansion over here.
Yeah.
The crew, and I would highly recommend, if you have this game, you really need the crew because it just adds a lot of flavor to it. There's more personality. There's more ways to win the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's vital. And it's not.
And
that
it comes with a nice rum bottle.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really does.
For sure.
Indeed.
So moving on.
One thing I might just throw in if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because this was my first time looking at this game, one of the things that I was really struck by with this was the really neat artwork on the cards.
Yeah.
And I was going through my own deck. I thought that's really cool art. It just immerses you a little bit in the whole pirate motif and mystique of the pirate look. And so that was it's a little bit cartoony, but it's also aimed for the younger ages. And I thought that was really fun and a nice touch to the game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So ironically, that is our second category, is the theme.
Yeah.
So how did you feel it did with the pirate theme? Did you feel like a pirate or no?
Well, yeah, there was that skullduggery component that you talked about, NATO, where you're blasting other people. And I really actually kind of love that. Your neighbor, if you roll a star, it doesn't even matter what happens.
Yeah.
Anyone can win at any time.
At any time.
Yeah.
And so that was a neat little element to that too. So and the whole I love the idea of dumping your goods off the boat if you didn't have room.
Yep.
So that was kind of a fun piece too.
Yeah.
And you can really tailor your ship. Like, you really spent time looking at getting the guys so you could move how you wanted, one less, or you could collect treasures, you had an extra attack, you could convert resources. So you really focused on having a really good crew on your boat.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Thematically, that's kind of neat. Whereas I was just like, set sails, blast out of there as far as you can. We have a playthrough up if you'd like to see the whole game and how to play. We'll teach you in that playthrough. We'll link to that at the end of the video.
Yeah, no, thematically with the crew members and everything, I think the world fits together very well for, you can imagine, you almost envision the world that they're living in. And so, and the artwork does a lot towards that.
For me, this is my favorite pirate game. I played Caribbean. We played a Plunderous game that was fun. Played Davy Jones and the Kraken Wakes.
Yes.
This one is a light pirate game, but I think theme-wise it works quite well.
That's good.
That's good. So we're talking about components and aesthetics next. So what do we think of the appearance of the game, the artwork? You've already mentioned that a little bit.
Yep. The card decks are neat.
Yeah, I love the artwork. I really like the dice, the nice heavy wooden dice.
They're nice.
Yeah.
I'm not as much of a fan of the boats.
No.
They're serviceable.
They're a bit weak.
They're serviceable.
We could definitely do better on those with an upgrade.
Yeah. I think it just could be a little bit nicer.
Some
maybe
nice metallic boats,
Yeah.
Some nice metal ones.
But other than that, components are fine. Of course, it'd be better with metal.
Doubloons, right? Yeah, sure.
You
we could do some upgrades.
But do you want it? Yeah, it was a fairly cheap game when I bought it.
Keep the price, the cost down.
That's
mean, the big dice for me, that kind of won it over there. Those are nice big meaty dice, so that's good.
I confess that when I look at these cards, I've never once looked at the picture on the card. I only ever look at the functions. So
that was one of the first things not knowing the game, that was one of my very first looks.
If you'd asked me what is on this card, I would have no clue. So I'm a more functional player, I guess. It's for me, I included this game in some of the most aesthetically beautiful board games. As a board, I love the rich blues. I love the contrast. I love the setup on the map. There's choices in which way you go. I think the aesthetics of the game are just really classy. I love it.
Really good. Excellent. Comparison to other games.
Does it remind you of any other race games you played?
Not especially. Maybe like Heat Pedal to the Metal a little bit. I know you guys haven't tried that one yet, but I mean, very obliquely.
Right.
I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't know.
It's like a kid's version of like maybe a Thunder Alley, or
something like that. But really, that's
pretty. But you're not like tailwinding and you're not like pushing or anything like that.
It's way
it's a fairly unique game. I can't think of any comparisons. But maybe Flash, you might have.
Well, as far as race games go, I can't think of any other that really fit in this niche the way that this one, because it balances. I mean, you look at the cards. Thanks for having those outcacks.
Yeah, you bet.
Some of them are movement. Some of them are resource development. And I think I could actually see another expansion having more features added onto the cards to add some variety, but maybe some cooperative play, that sort of thing, where you help an ally. That could be a fun way to change the dynamic of the game.
Some other directions it could go,
for sure. Absolutely. But I think overall it is a game unto itself. So
and finally, I mean, we've talked a lot of upsides, so downsides.
What catches you?
Let's start with you, Cax, and I'll go with me, and then you, because you have the most experience with the game. So
I think for in the final analysis with this game, you're circling a map, right? And so that's what you're doing.
It's pretty simple.
And so that maybe a little bit more to it. Yeah, it's a tricky map, but it's kind of like it's just you're circling a map. So that's what it is. It's a big raceway.
Yeah. So you didn't like that?
Nah, I think there could have been more. But again, it's who it's tailored towards. So I think for that age group, it's perfectly fine.
Let me spin it this way. If you played it with your kids, would they like this or no?
I think they would like it. And I think they'd pick it up quick, which is a big part for me too, right? So I think that, I think they would like it.
It's super easy to learn because it's okay. So here's this one. You have two options this turn. You have 3 cards to choose from, and you do your 2 actions. It moves fairly quickly. With 3 players, it's really fast. With 5 players, it slows a bit because it takes a while to come around to your turn. So that would be one of my downsides. I think you didn't get to see that in our playthrough, but I love it at the 3-player count. 4 players is fun too because you get more fighting. And you get more thieving and piracy. So you know what? There's a benefit. It's slower, but it's more immersive with 5 players. So that's both an upside and a downside for me.
Okay. For me, the only downside, I guess I would say, is it feels a little bit more punishing in some ways than I feel it kind of should be, I guess. Like it's
a pirate game, man.
I know.
You got thumped. You got hit hard.
I did. And I think I remember even in the game we played years ago, I remember that as well. But I mean, there's a lot of you get hit really hard in this game, and it can be kind of discouraging, like, because when you were racing out in front, I'm like, look at my cards, I don't have anything, I don't have the food to pay, I don't have the gold
He's throwing tokens now, folks, look out.
And yet so, we had the exact same deck of cards,
but not in the same coming out in the same order though.
No, but not in the same order, because there was a few things where I did not have any option but to fight Cax. Well, and I lost that battle.
Well, sometimes there are options maybe you didn't see because it was your first game. So, for instance, you might look and, I don't want to land there, but you may in fact actually want to land there because then you go backwards and collect a treasure. So you can't pay 5. So you take advantage of the rule that I can't pay. So suddenly I get a treasure, and that can completely change.
But I could see, certainly with smaller kids, if they got attacked and they got here's your hold of like 15 gold and I'm just going to take it,
That's
that that could be discouraging for a hard
to swallow.
Like I didn't mind. I'd have fun with it anyway, and that's all good, but it could be discouraging for a much younger
Well, in
player
our scores,
or a much more sensitive player?
You two ended up battling each other, so it was just fighting each other, fighting, and I'm just zooming ahead like, see you later, guys. And I have to. Most games don't end this far apart. I would say most I play, and with most of the players cross the line, or get pretty close.
Really?
And usually everybody's at least past here, but that's after we've had some experience with the game.
Okay.
So that I think that comes with a few more plays.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Great.
Definitely.
So in the final analysis, would you bring this in with your family?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And Flash Marine,
I always do.
Yeah, and I think I would
great.
too. So
It's really good for what it is, I think.
Yeah.
And
it's still available, is it?
I sure hope
still
so.
In print?
Yeah. Maybe our viewers can let us know if it's still out there.
Curious.
If you have any experiences you want to share with us, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah. Until then, get out there
and get gaming
and be piratey.